Something else that I want to touch on is like motivation and purpose and how that is related to health, right? Like if you don't have motivation or purpose in your life, your health actually diminishes. So what advice do you have for people related to that?
I'm a systems thinker, so I'm going to bring you into my 5 Ps that I like to think of. And I think that when we're considering purpose, if we start with our passions, that's the easy place in, because purpose can be really overwhelming. Like I said, I have a 23-year-old, right? So I know that like finding our life purpose doesn't necessarily come to us. It can be rough. Just starting with your passions. So I'm going to give you the 5 Ps and then we'll look at them. But this again relates to those positive psychological constructs that nourish us. They become part of how we find health and healing. So passion, permission, purpose, persistence, and perseverance. So if we know our passions, what lights you up? Like, what are the things that light you up? Conversations about interesting topics that bring us deeper into ourselves, whatever it is that lights you up. I used to dance. I started dancing again. I am so happy. I will go to a dance class every single day that I can. And that gives me something that addresses those deficiencies that I was having, just joy and pleasure and a kind of movement that I wasn't experiencing no matter what I was doing, because I wasn't working that hard aerobically, right? So passion is where to start. And I think this is another place we can track for ourselves. Where do I light up? What lights me up in the day, in my week? Where do I feel like I'm in my flow? What's that thing? Then we have to give ourselves permission, which is a hard thing, especially for women, to focus more on what we're passionate about. How do I give myself permission? And this is something for, all the students that I teach, like give yourself permission to make this your career, to do this work. It's okay to give yourself permission to thrive. I was talking to a colleague yesterday and she was talking about the difference between surviving and thriving and how she's ready at this stage in her life to give herself permission to thrive, not just survive. So passion, permission, I think that then leads us to our purpose. This is, of course, what we all know as our big why. And when we're living into our personal why, not our parents' why or our spouse's why, but our own why in the world, we start to have a different intention for what we will do. So I just want to talk a little bit about purpose and going back to our original conversation with my husband's illness. So he was given a grave diagnosis and he was given a prognosis of 6 months to live. He was about to be a father for the first time and really wanted to be a father. Making dietary change was no big deal. Not a big deal. There wasn't a like, oh, but I don't want to, because the purpose behind that change was big. The things I've had to do to grow my business were things that I did more easily because of that purpose. I got out of my own way because it wasn't about me. It's about something bigger than me. And that bigger than me is going to help me to learn marketing, to learn sales, to learn growth, to learn business that I don't want to do. I'm a nutritionist, but I'll do it, right? Because it's bigger. So I think purpose is something we can work into.
It fuels you.
Yeah, and it fuels you and your health.
And then you can continue on. There was still persistence and perseverance.
Yes. So persistence for me is the regularity with which we show up for something. So like me going to my dance class regularly. If somebody's building a business or starting a practice of meditation, it doesn't have to be an hour every day. It could be 5 minutes every day or 5 minutes every other day. What are we committing to that is at a digestible rate in that persistence that we can then build upon what we're learning? And the perseverance is recognizing that we're going to fall down. but we just get back up. It's not about perfection. It's not about doing it right or not doing it at all. I think there's just a lot of pressure these days of what it means to take on a new practice, make change. We go really big or not at all. And I just want to invite people into a gentler way to find their way forward, no matter what it is that they're pursuing. And that's how we nurture ourselves, put less pressure on ourselves, and therefore we're more self-compassionate, all the things that you talk about on your podcast that allow us to really come into our full expression of self.
Yeah, I love that. The 5 Ps are so good. And it kind of brings another question to mind is, can you share your lifestyle or weekly routine, either daily or weekly, whatever gives us a better picture. But, for someone who understands nutrition and health at a deep level as you, how do you live your life?
Yeah, I mean, those non-negotiables and knowing my non-negotiables are really important to me. So like sleep is a cornerstone. I didn't sleep so well last night because I missed my window, but like sleep is so important.
Do you sleep at the same time every day? Is it like...
Yes, I try to go to sleep and, be in bed, relaxing by 9:30, 10 p.m. bedtime. So, for a lot of people's lifestyle, depending on age and a lot of other factors, it's just making sure at different stages of life that we honor sleep and recognize what might be disrupting it. But I know that I have a harder time with my energy, my hormones, my mood, if I'm not honoring my 9:30, 10 p.m. bedtime. So knowing my non-negotiables, but I also really bookend my day with practices that are nourishing to me where I'm unplugging from other things. So I have a very dedicated morning routine. When I travel, I get off that. This is the persistence, right? Like,
yeah. What is the routine though?
So I wake up usually at 5. I brush my teeth, stretch, do some weight bearing exercises, feed the cat, put the kettle on, take a shower, short meditation. I pull a tarot card just to set an intention for the day. And then I talk to my boyfriend on the phone and make my morning beverage, which usually has some fat, fiber, protein, like a matcha green tea with some collagen and I like cacao butter in mine.
Okay. Oh, I didn't realize fat, fiber, protein relates to beverages as well.
Everything. So it's the first food I'm putting in, right? So that's my personal morning routine. And all of those things are really short.
Yeah. It's very doable.
Very doable. I'm literally meditating and doing kind of a gratitude. I run through gratitude for my body and my health and my son and my business. Like I just kind of run through my family, friends, coworkers, the world. Like I just run through a little mantra that allows me to sit in gratitude and literally 5 minutes.
Love it. And then evening, what's your evening routine?
Yeah, my evening is a little bit more kind of unplugging, reading or listening to a podcast that really after dance. So I'm doing my dance class in the evening, but then showering and just really taking time to unplug, but engage with things that stimulate my mind in ways that I find broadening and really fulfilling. So, for some people that might be Netflix or whatever it is, but like for me, it's usually a book or a podcast that makes me curious. I love curiosity, and that's what feeds me.
Love it. And then what type of dance class are you taking?
So I've been
I love
doing a little
dance
bit of
too.
hip hop.
Oh, fun.
But I also, the class I love,
studio?
it is at a studio. Yeah. Yeah.
Fun.
And it's choreography. And then there's a class I love in Portland that's just so inclusive and delightful. And it's kind of a mix between, I would say, funk, hip hop, and burlesque a little bit. It's packed. It's so much fun.
I love that. And I love that you make the time to do these things that bring you joy while running like a successful business and being like doing all that you do, right?
I think I have to. And I think that's really what I recognized, that if I didn't carve out that time for myself, I was not as good in my role, that it's almost like it serves me to be a better leader, a better teacher, a better creator when I take that time.
Love it. All right. So, do you have any future projects or initiatives that you're most excited about? Like, what's next for you?
I feel like I'm definitely getting your gears going and like questions like, what is this that she's talking about? To confuse that even more, I'm studying narrative medicine and the connections between narrative medicine and functional medicine, which for me are really about the patient's story. How do we come more into our stories through practices that have nothing to do with health?
I've never even heard of that term, narrative medicine.
I know. It's like newer than functional
But
medicine.
you're talking about someone's life story and their experiences, how it shapes their health.
Yes. And even leaning into the humanities and like looking at art or reading a poem as ways to touch ourselves and learn more about ourselves internally, look in for what moves us, as opposed to, oh, here's what made me sick, here's what, as opposed to focusing on that there's other ways to uncover our narrative that help us listen in to ourselves.
Yeah.
So on my new personal website, that's where I'm exploring more of that connection. And that work is very geared towards the patient versus the practitioner. And it's for a more advanced patient who's been there and done that, but it's really lovely practices. And I have workshops and writing and working towards publishing a book.
Amazing. No, that sounds so interesting. And to you, do you label or do you also consider this like holistic health or holistic healing? Because that's also something that people talk about. Because I know sometimes people separate, like, you know what I mean? They make a distinction.
Yeah, so to me, holistic is a umbrella term that is about how we practice or how we look at things. I think a lot of times when we're thinking about holistic, it's the modality, like this is a holistic solution. And I like to think of holistic how I look at you holistically as the whole person, your
Right.
history.
Your
So
story,
holistic's
your
an
everything.
umbrella, exactly. And then functional and integrative are two modalities that were born in the 1990s.
Is it still under that umbrella though?
Yeah, I would say it's under that umbrella. Integrative just means you embrace different modalities. Acupuncture, it's all included. And functional just means we look through those three lenses that I talked about, the partnership, the roots, and
Got it.
yeah,
Got it. No, I think it's so exciting just to hear how there's more knowledge and expertise in health beyond just like the medical, right? Beyond just the physical. Like there's all the other layers. The
absolutely.
purpose, joy, your story.
Yes, exactly. And I think it can be hard for us to think of nutrition through that lens, which I feel like is the journey of our conversation, that we want nutrition to be about kale and quinoa and, you know, mushroom coffee, but it's that and some is what I'm saying. Like it can be so much more.
Yeah, I would say like the light bulb from this conversation in regards to nutrition would be like traditionally I would think, oh, you eat this list of foods that are healthy. Like, eat the rainbow could be like, oh, I have to eat blueberries, I have to eat broccoli, I have to eat, but no, you're saying like out of the rainbow, you can pick whichever foods bring you joy and make you
Yes.
feel best.
Yes.
And it's still healthy, but it's for you. Like you have a response to these foods. It's not just eat the mushroom because they told you to eat the mushroom.
Exactly. Beautiful.